Audio Jungle.
Hey everybody, welcome to Lifegasm. Welcome. I'm your host, JP, with my co-host, Elle. Say hello, Elle.
Hello.
And our recurring guest, Elizabeth. Liz,
Elizabeth, whatever you want.
Liz Lerner.
Liz
She's
Lerner.
going to let her introduce herself.
I was going
It's
to.
much- yeah, it's much better.
I think you did last time, but welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Introduce yourself.
My
Who are
name
you?
is Elizabeth Lerner. You can call me Liz, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist here in Florida. My office is in Palm Beach Gardens, and I work with people, helping them with whatever issue they may have.
Fantastic. And let me tell you, before I give it over to you, Elle,
Yeah.
because we've got issues today.
Yeah.
And tell us why.
Oh, we're talking about porn.
Yeah, that's why Liz is here to help us work through this moment
We
of
need her
darkness.
expertise on this subject.
Help is
Even
here.
though you know a lot about it, JP.
Well, we'll find out.
Mm.
So tell me, what happened that has ruined our world?
So this is what sparked this, idea in me. That Pornhub.com in Florida is now restricted. You can't go on and just look up free porn. Like, just go in, boom, boom, boom. No, can't do that anymore. As of January 1st, they have changed the whole dynamic of the website, and you now have to put your ID in order to get into the site. I didn't do it, so I don't know exactly what it entails. I probably should have, right?
Well, I am curious because what does that mean? Like
So
a driver's license number?
Yeah.
I think that's what I
You have to
heard.
verify that you're an
Verify
That
that you're
you're-
an adult, and it's to protect children, I guess. And why is it not coming up?
children's eyes from seeing such
So let me ask
interesting
you.
movies or show. Or
All right, so I heard. I think the whole world has heard this.
Mhm.
But my question is, where did this come from? Like, where did this? Because all of a sudden, I just heard, Pornhub.
Okay. All right. Let me it's very long, so I'll just give you like a brief synopsis, dear user. As you may know, elected officials in Florida are requiring us to verify your age before allowing you to access our website. So safety and compliance, blah, 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 that you have to give your ID every time you go on the website, which is crazy.
It's like the perv police.
It's the
That is
police.
crazy.
Yeah. And it says that
Total invasion of my privacy.
Giving your ID every time you want to visit this adult platform is not the most effective solution for protecting our users, and in fact will put your children and your privacy at risk. That's the
I believe that.
on it. Okay, and I do too. After reading this, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's blah 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 blah. Other states don't do it, some do.
I didn't know that. Other states do it?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Texas. Okay.
Boy, Florida and Texas, man, they're like two peas in a pod. They are.
And the safety of the users is their biggest concern. Blah 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 blah. We think the most and best effective solution for protecting children and adults alike is to identify users by their device and allow access to age-restricted materials and websites based on that identification until a real solution is offered. They'd like
All
to
right,
read-
so everybody's
blah, blah,
read
blah, blah.
this.
Okay. Well, yeah. All the Pornhub fans.
Well, apparently there's more than I thought. Isn't that right? The all right, so what's the
Well, the
So
problem,
it's-
the problem is this.
I'm gonna.
Okay, first of
Liz
all-
takes over.
As a therapist, I didn't even know about Pornhub until my son came home one day after going to it was a field trip to Butterfly World.
makes sense?
And
Makes
he was
sense.
on the bus. he was on the bus, and
Shut up.
one of the kids pulled out on his phone Pornhub. They
Now,
were
wait, how long ago was this?
fourth grade.
What's that
He was
mean?
about 10 years old. So my son said, I saw this man and this lady, and they were like naked. And I'm driving. I'm like, what? And they, like, what is going on here? So
What in the actual fuck?
yeah, so I'm
Say it,
thinking to
Liz.
myself, what in the actual fuck is
Yeah.
going on here? I pay a lot of money for this private school. Little pervs in training. But anyway, So I was,
Love it.
I was happy that my son told me.
Yes,
Yeah, no
I
of
didn't know.
course.
I didn't know. And then I had to go on there and check it out. And sure enough,
Of course.
and then you were
I
like,
do my
wow. You're like, woo,
I was
look
like,
at
first
this.
of all, it's free. So anyone can just type in there. But, little eyes should not be seeing this because it's very confusing. And there's all different types of porn, as people know. And it can be very confusing. I mean,
Of course.
they're not
I find
old
it
enough.
confusing at my age.
They're not old enough to understand what sex is supposed to be like.
Right.
So,
So then do you think that this is a good thing?
I think that it's good to protect children. I just think it's kind of, I guess anything that's free, anyone can have access to. So I guess maybe this is their way of kind of like slowing things down. But kids are going to find something anyway.
Yes,
find it
and
or
I
they're
think
gonna-
that's what they're saying.
gonna
They
find
almost
it.
they insinuate that they will find it in maybe other places that are not safe at all.
Right. I mean, you can
Like-
go on Twitter, you can go on Reddit, you can go on
the dark web. They can go
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, but I don't. All right, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if you're looking for it, sure. If you're not necessarily looking for it, but you stumble across it and it's that easily accessible, then that kind of opens the door into this world, which can quickly become a problem. So
Mhm.
if it does in fact prohibit that from happening, I think it's a great thing. So I think it could work. And then what about? So I will say this: I have once or twice gone on to explore the
Mhm.
world of
You're such a
darkness.
Pornography.
liar.
And no, but I will say, I'm not a huge. It's not one of my things. It's not. I mean, it's just. But I was looking around once, and it could have been on Pornhub,
Mhm.
but it was one of those sites. And there were some disturbing things on there because there were I guess you can go on and pick whatever category, whatever
Category,
you
correct.
want.
Mhm.
Yes.
And there were some that were young, and there were
Mhm.
young kids.
No, they don't have no.
Oh no. Oh no.
They don't have anything underage.
Bullshit.
Maybe
They
looked,
don't.
Maybe they looked.
No,
No,
they don't. They
I don't-
don't.
Well,
Could've been
they
maybe they're like a teenager, like
Yeah,
18, but they
18.
look
no,
like
they look like they were 12.
Oh no.
Because I thought to myself,
No.
that's messed up.
Anyway.
No, because so I think it's not only. I don't know if that. I'm assuming that is restrictive to people who put on who submit. I don't know how that works.
Submit.
How you
videos.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that even works.
People
is
can
it
submit
like a
submit-
normal person.
Yeah,
can
like
submit on
I could
Pornhub.
submit. Yes, I could submit a sex.
Did I see you on there?
No, I will never do that.
But so anybody can submit,
Correct.
Their
Well,
own.
not anybody. They screen you, right? They screen.
but you can actually put your own video on there.
Correct. Yes, yes. You have to be verified.
Right.
Mhm.
And then some things link to another thing. So when you go on this free website, then it'll be like, oh, if you click here for $9.99 or you do that.
Well,
that's how
sure.
they
It's
make
an
their money.
advertising.
Yeah.
Let me take your mind and run with
Exactly.
it.
And then it can get even deeper and deeper, no pun intended.
Right.
But it's definitely no, but it's very conflicting to people, especially if you're a teenager or a young child or whatever, and you find this, right?
Now
Look, I think we've discussed this one.
we have, and we never aired it. And you had a lot of good points on the subject of porn.
Well, yeah,
and-
because
and-
I
And the first one was about how kids go on and think that this is normal sex.
Well, I think it's completely changed the way that we have sex today. I think if you not necessarily us, but and I've talked to
Younger.
many people,
Yeah.
and I was talking to a guy
yeah, you were talking
who
about-
was younger,
Yes.
and they get their I don't know,
Inspiration.
or technique or
Inspiration.
ideas or whatever from these porn
Yeah.
sites. And I don't know that that's really a healthy way, because from what I understand, it's you watch this, but reality is that's not really what
and-
we
and
want.
a lot of the people that are doing it, the men, they're on medications to keep themselves,
Of
up
course,
and
yeah.
running and going.
Yeah, because I felt very bad about myself.
No, but really,
I
people
went
can.
into a dark, deep
Yeah,
depression.
that's
You
true.
can start having body dysmorphia because now you think, oh, my body's not like this.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't look
well,
like that.
so as from your profession, I would imagine that actually becomes a very real problem.
It is a real problem.
Because if people watch this, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, so that's normal. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, that's not normal. But you think it is.
Or why does my body not react that way like this person does?
Right.
Right.
You know,
So
they
it
show all
really-
kinds of interesting things. I'm like, how does a body even get that to that spot? Like you'd have to do a lot of work with that.
Mm.
Yeah. So, no. So, all right. So that's porn in general.
Mhm.
But I think it sort of has created a disconnect between relationships and the intimacy of sex. And I think we were talking about this maybe before the show, but I think you said guys are watching porn all day, and then it comes time to have, an intimate moment or sex with your wife or girlfriend or
They have
whatever.
zero interest.
And you can't, right? Exactly. Because
They've already let everything out.
and it just, well,
Right.
or it just doesn't compare to what they see.
It doesn't turn them on.
Right. And that's a problem.
It is a huge problem because it's not reality. It's like a fantasy world.
So is that is that a big part of your, like, do you
It's addiction.
help people with that?
I do help people with it. It's definitely an addictive type of problem.
Mhm.
It's one thing if it's kind of like drinking. Some people can have one
Or
drink,
doing
two
drugs.
drink, or drug or something.
Drugs, right.
But they have to have all of it, and so it's like at what cost? Your relationship, your job. You can't leave the house because you're busy watching porn or doing something that you got to get. You got if it's everyday life.
Porn addiction, I know
Mhm.
I know it is a big problem. I know actually some people with it. And they can't have a
They
normal
can't stop
yeah, and they can't have a normal relationship.
Because why?
because they're so
Because
addicted from that
they're so
dopamine hit that
yes.
they can't stop.
They
It's like,
they get an addiction, so it's like a dopamine hit, like you said, and it's just like doing, let's say cocaine or
Right,
heroin
sure.
or whatever. They need that hit. They need the fix. They
Okay.
need the fix.
I think
And then when they get to being intimate with someone,
Mhm.
it
They have no desire for that.
right, or they can't perform, right? I don't know.
Well, it depends. If they've masturbated like 10 times that day, probably not.
That's never stopped me. And I don't take medication,
Oh, brother.
but I do get sores on my hands.
But-
Ah,
But
Jesus.
another point to this too is like if say you're religious, right, and you're
Mm.
addicted to porn. There's a lot of
Mm.
shame and guilt that comes along with
Absolutely.
masturbating. People
Of
they feel
course.
badly that like they wake up and they have to masturbate and they just feel like something's wrong with them. So there is a level of normal, it's normalcy, it's okay, it's healthy, but then on the other end, it's like the addictive piece is like it takes over. And that's very unhealthy and
Ah,
can make you feel very mental.
yeah.
And I would imagine it's an easy thing to grab hold and take over. And I think that's what we were talking about last time. So when I was growing up, and I just have to, I'm thankful that I did not grow up in today's world, because I'd be in your office saying, I don't know what to do.
Mm.
Because truly it's every, especially at that age, when you're going through puberty and you're learning and whatever, and you're just, your hormones are raging. Mine have never seemed to have stopped. So I'm still there. I have to learn control, but I had to go to a gas station and
What?
buy a magazine.
Oh,
No. Yes, I had to go in the back bathroom. No,
you
I
had
had
to go in the bathroom and jerk off?
No, but
What?
if you wanted to get it, you had to get a magazine or a video or whatever. It was you could not just go on your phone or go on the internet. And so it was more, it just was not accessible like it is today. And the porn today is not what the porn was when I was growing up.
No.
I mean, like
No.
Hustler, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
Today,
That's not
that's nothing.
nothing.
But it just was a different world. So but the thing is, you say that's porn, but in my opinion, you go on to social media and that's not porn, but it's almost light porn. It's all the women. You can get whatever you want.
Softcore
Right.
porn.
So you can get whatever you
Softcore.
want,
Right,
whether
different
it's
level.
I can't say that word.
and so
Softcore
I
porn.
think
Softcore porn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I feel like that's every part of our life, because that's what sells. And it sells because that's what
it's wanted and neat.
Exactly. and then I think it's funny because we get mad, and I think this is what we talked about. I don't know if we talked about this or not, but we went through that whole Me Too movement, And that was such a big movement. And I just sat back and watched it all and said, I get it, but you can't push and promote and advertise and then get mad when people can't necessarily control themselves when you're pumping this down their throat all the time. I know you have a difference of opinion. I don't think I think it's I think it's so unbalanced. It's like if we don't want this behavior from men, then let's not promote this behavior and sell everything with sex.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the Pornhub is now like changed in Florida to help diminish
good
users from getting their little.
But again, like Pornhub is saying, they're gonna go somewhere else.
Exactly. Once you're
hooked, they
hooked,
might go to worse websites. They might go to darker places.
If you're already hooked,
yeah.
So those people that are already hooked, I think they're gonna
just carve everyone's eyes out.
Absolutely not. But no, so I do think if you're already hooked, that's different. But if you're not and you haven't seen it, I actually don't disagree, and I think this probably should have been done a long time ago because it's really just. It's like anything we do. If you can't have self-control, then somebody has to regulate it for you. And I think that's where we've become. And it should have been done before. And if it prevents kids from getting on there, or even adults from stumbling on, because it is a layer of, do you want to put your information in? Because a lot of people, most people would probably be like, no.
But
and then there's people like
I've got a lifelong subscription. I'm already in. They're going to go other places. And Liz, do you agree with me? Will they go? They'll go to darker places, and they might go to more physical places. Mm-hmm. They might start going.
Right. Like let's go meet up at the massage parlor.
There you go, massage parlor.
But at least that's real interaction.
Stop it.
Yeah, but you still have to pay for it.
Stop it.
Yeah, but it's better than looking at a screen.
It's prostitution.
Yeah.
That's think illegal. Prostitution should be legal, personally.
Well, I mean, it should be.
No, look.
Like it is in Vegas. I mean,
I'm not regulated. That would be great. When I say that.
Regulated and taxed, it would be great.
I actually believe that.
I do too. I'm with you on that. But it's not here.
Especially male prostitutes. I'm kidding.
I am for hire.
Oh, please.
Yeah. No, but so I know. She's like, not interested. All right, so that's what they did.
He has a hot boyfriend. Ooh, so handsome. Anyway.
All right, so what's the problem? So they regulate porn. I mean, like you said, there's always going to be a way around it. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for what it's going to do is it close one door, it's going to open another because that's the nature of how we work.
Actually, someone told me today that now they're considering getting their own a new VPN address. Isn't that weird? So if you don't know what that means, of course, I had to Google it.
Thank you, because I don't.
I Googled it. So basically, it's like you could link your phone to any single thing, and it won't say it's in Florida. It could say it's from Texas, not Texas.
All right, so that was a question I had.
Way around
so is that how that message comes up? Because it's linked to your IP or whatever you have?
So now people are going to get like a new VPN. It sounds so official.
Yeah, there's ways around.
Yeah, there's always ways around it. You just got to work a little harder.
I think they should. I mean, what's the big deal?
I think we should just go back to like
come on, just
let Sesame Street and some easy peasy days. Like, why does everything have to be so raw and raunchy and bigger, better, more? And
well, I tell you,
here's my opinion. I think it was always raw and raunchy. I mean, look at the 60s, look at the 70s, look at the 80s. I mean, I remember reading books in the 80s as a kid, like about, just novel, like trashy novels.
Right.
And the stuff I read when I was like 14 was like off the fucking charts. And I remember it. I remember a lot of it like detailed. And I was like, that was like really raw and raunchy back then. It still was. I mean, it was always there. It's always there.
It was always since the Roman times. You went into a brothel. It was but I mean, truly,
that's true. That's true. Right. So now it's just it's more. There's just more exposure.
You know what?
With the internet,
we're all screwed. Literally,
we're screwed.
I feel badly for the kids. No, I feel badly for the kids. I mean, you can't even be a kid.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because I've always thought if you go over to Europe and you go to the beach. And it's a topless beach or a nude beach, but let's say topless because that's more common. It's not a big deal.
Well, it'd be a big deal for me. I don't want to see that.
You don't want to.
Oh, I love topless beaches and
No, but I'm saying it's like you can go over there and there's it's just
like when you
people,
go to
it's
France,
families, it's
everyone's
everything
Prance
topless.
around.
because they don't
Oh, it's
make
so
it
pretty.
a big deal.
Well,
You
there
know
are
what I mean?
nudist colonies in Florida. You know that.
I've
Right?
been
Of
to
course.
I have
There's one right off down Okeechobee.
Sunny
isn't
side or
there? Yeah, Sunny, yeah.
Sunny, whatever. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been there.
Running around with.
I'll tell you a funny story about that.
But they're
I
not
went
really
through
about
there
sex.
years
in this
ago with some friends. This is a true story.
Ooh,
True
story
story.
time. Story time.
So we're like, we got to go check out this nudist colony. We were probably 18, I don't know, young, and we're like, all right. So we went to this nudist colony, saying, we would consider joining. So went through the whole thing. So we sat down, we talked to them. They're sitting down. We're thinking, this is crazy. Because, of course, a nudist colony is not somewhere you really want to be. It's all old people.
Yeah.
And so we're driving through.
At least they have a towel.
I'll never forget this. We're driving through.
On the golf cart?
No, we're in our
Because
car.
I've been there. Okay.
And we're driving through,
You were on
and
a
my
golf-
friend goes, holy shit, that's my grandpa. And he was sitting outside, and we're like, no. And he's like, yes, that's my, and we're like, holy. And he was sitting in a chair, butt naked. And I think that ruined him because he's like, I just
he was
saw
scarred for
my
life.
grandfather's nuts hanging down.
Scarred for life.
Yeah, truly.
Ah!
I mean, you can't make that up.
Oh, you can't make that shit up.
It was one of
Oh,
the
that's
best moments
priceless.
of my life.
Oh, that's
Uh,
priceless.
But
Oh,
no,
that's
so
good.
so my point is, if you go to a nudist colony, you go to a nude beach.
Damn,
whatever,
we should have had him on the
it's
show.
not a big deal.
It's not too late.
But we make it a big deal.
We'll do a
You
part
know what I
two.
mean? Because we sell it, and it's like I think that's where the problem comes in. It creates this lustful environment. Because
Do you think that the porn addiction has increased because of this?
because of what?
Because of the supply? Because
Absolutely, I do. I
Okay.
mean, but I'm not. What do you think? This would be right
No,
on
I
your
think
alley,
I think anything that's
readily available.
readily
Readily
available
available.
is people who have addictive personalities to begin with.
Mm,
You know, they see something and all of a sudden, oh, I want to see that again.
Right.
And the next thing you know, they can't concentrate at school or work. I mean,
and they have fetishes,
Yep.
obviously. And
Little,
yeah. You had a friend.
Yes, but I don't know what to call. I don't know how to properly talk
Okay,
about
you
it.
had a friend. She was a woman.
Yes.
It was a woman. It was a woman.
Well,
Okay.
so that's what I was. Yeah,
and that
because-
was well, we can't. It was no, it wasn't
no,
that.
Not that.
Say a
No, it
golden
wasn't that.
shower?
That's
It
disgusting.
was. I remember you told me it was little people. It was a little people.
yes, because I was saying, I think last time we talked about it,
You
it was always a guy thing, but I have found in my experience that I find there's more women, or at least more than I ever thought, that are into porn.
Then
Like,
men.
I always thought porn was
No.
more of a guy thing.
It is.
But
Well,
it could
maybe not.
be, but I'm telling you,
Well,
I have in the past
Not anymore.
20 years or 10 years or whatever, I have heard more women talk about porn.
You know why? I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because women are now basically like men. We have to do everything. So we might as I'm serious. The
This is-
roles have gotten so screwed up that they're now just as raunchy as the men were.
They're
Because
worse.
they're practically men. Yeah.
You're worse.
That's right.
I think
Nothing
it's
wrong
just,
with it.
Society wouldn't
Nothing
no,
wrong
but
with
we've
it.
talked about that. It's a
Nothing wrong with it.
shift in the dynamic
There's a huge
between
shift.
women and men. It's
That's
like
right.
women have become the men and men have become the women.
That's right.
We are sensitive and need to be held, and women are like,
Oh,
"Fuck that
shut
bitch,
up.
get
Yeah,
naked."
That's right.
And it's right.
Bring that thing out.
See, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no problem. But so I was talking to this friend, and she
No, I
was
like a
talking. She
dominant man.
watches porn every night. That was her thing.
The midget? Sorry.
Oh, we got to
No.
censor that. Censor.
She is not, but
people.
that's her preferred porn.
Little
That's what she
people
likes to
porn.
watch.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, no,
she's
she's not.
She
No,
doesn't
she's
enjoy
not.
watching it.
She's not, but she's into little people.
You know
porn.
why? Because she secretly thinks they're like children, which is sick.
Oh, stop. Oh, la, la, la,
Is
la, la.
that true?
I don't want to hear that. No, stop. Oh, my
Yes.
God.
See, you're sick.
No. Shut the
She's-
fuck up.
she's
It's
not
not me.
no.
Go fuck yourself. I would
There's
never
a lot of
fucking do
weirdness
that.
that goes on.
But so, all right, So that's the other thing.
I'm not saying she is.
No, but that's the other thing, though, is
Eeh.
whereas before you were
So
somewhat
she's
limited.
really into that.
I haven't talked to her in a long time,
Mm.
but at the time,
She was addicted to it.
she watched porn every night. She was a porn addict.
Addict.
And she would say that she's addicted to it. And that was so for her. And I think she even said with her boyfriend, like that was their thing, is they would watch it together. And I don't even know. Yeah, it was. And that was probably one of my first insights to, the whole woman's world of porn.
Yeah.
I
Little
think
people porn, right? Though. Oh, is it all different kinds?
Well, no, about a woman and her take on it, because I've never really, I was never really part of. I was married for a long time, and that was right out of my marriage.
No. Was she into She was into little people porn.
Yeah.
And so was her boyfriend, or was that just something
Oh, well,
she
I
did
didn't
without
ask
him?
if he was into.
Oh.
I'm thinking he wasn't.
Oh, shit.
But that was my first experience into a woman being so open about it and so
Okay.
comfortable talking about it.
Mm.
And then after that, it's like, it's like anything, like we talked about in the swinger world. It's once you're in it, you're now
Exposed.
well, and you see it more. And so it's just an interesting thing. I don't know what to think about porn, to be honest. I don't think it's healthy.
God help us.
I really don't want to think. Just kidding. It gives me a
I
headache.
just want to watch.
Do you watch porn?
Have I ever watched it before? Yeah, I've
You-
looked at it.
You have, and do you still?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
No, I know. The answer is absolutely not.
Okay.
I did look at it when I was
It's okay to say yes.
No, she's being
No.
honest. She's honest.
for real
For
business purposes.
I was just going to say research.
It was like research. I was
Research.
like, what the H? Like this is crazy, right?
Right, because you have to understand where your
Yeah,
clients
you
are coming
really-
from,
I mean,
obviously.
I do not specialize in
Mm.
porn addicts.
Okay.
It's
But
not
you
my-
have treated some.
Yes, I've treated many.
Ma-
However, it's not my
many.
specialty.
Okay.
It's not my favorite thing because,
Right.
like addicts, they lie. I'm
Yes.
not saying all.
Yes.
I work with people in recovery who are wonderful,
Right.
people, but people that aren't ready to give up the addiction
Mm.
because they just can't or won't.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow,
they really need,
interesting.
like a rehab. So, coming to see me once a
Interesting.
week may not always, it's not effective. And I'm not doing them any favors,
Yeah.
So let me ask you this:
Wow.
if you're a sex addict,
Mhm.
The sex addict and a porn addict are
Oh,
different.
that's
No.
right.
Yeah.
They're
that's
different.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is there's a big difference.
Huge difference.
However, there is obviously similarities, because a sex addict, it's sex.
It's a lot more complicated as far as you have to, I've had sex addicts come in where they've already been with 3 people before they even got to my office.
Right. Yeah, I believe that.
Day. 3 different people. So and they're married. And so it's like they're physically addicted to that high.
All right. So quick sidebar. I don't want to get off track. I know somebody who's a sex addict, and he was married. He, just started having
Do I
sex
know him?
with everybody.
Do I know him?
And
Do I know him?
don't know.
Oh.
And so they had problems, and it came out that he's a sex addict, and he said, I'm sorry, I just can't help it. I'm an addict. And I thought to myself, you can go fuck yourself, because I'm a sex addict, but I have restraint.
You have.
I want sex all the time.
There's a difference.
There's a
Really?
difference.
Because I looked at it as a cop out.
No.
Mm-mm.
Being a sex addict, if you have a very high sex drive and you like to have sex all the time, there's a difference
Mm.
than to become a sex addict.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't understand, because I feel like I could go out and, work on my addiction, but I choose not to.
What addiction?
My sex addiction.
You don't. You're not a sex addict, Johnny. You just have a high sex drive.
So what's the difference?
You're just horny all the time. I hate that word. You're just fucking horny all the time.
No, but what's the difference between somebody? Because I'm
He's
assuming
asking, what's the difference between someone with a high sex drive like him
Mhm.
and a sex addict? He thinks he's a sex addict. He's not.
No, but I'm saying we both obviously have a high sex drive. He just acts on it. I don't.
No, that's not
Right, but is that
that's not the difference.
so? Why does that make him a sex addict just because he acts on it?
He can't.
Sex
can't.
addicts have
It's like if
right.
you were a
All
drug
right.
addict and
So
so
that's
free-
just the
Right. It's like being a drug
Right.
addict. Right. You
just
can't control it.
right.
Right. Right.
Right. If you present that to somebody, forget it. If I showed up, if someone was a cocaine addict and I show up with a tray of cocaine,
Right.
you think that that person would have to have a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
But if they weren't, you know,
Well, so then that just goes to show, and I will use myself as an ignorant example of people who don't understand addiction, because
So that's why
that's
we
just
talk about
it.
these things.
Because I'm
Yes.
looking at it thinking, what's the difference? And somebody who's an addict on that says, you don't get it. I can't
can't
control myself.
themselves.
And that's just it. That's the difference.
You
Right,
heard this.
right.
So people out there who are judgmental, use me as an example. Don't be stupid.
Oh,
Because
brother.
because truly I looked at him and
No.
thought, why? So, all right. So then a porn addict is the same thing. You just can't stop yourself
Right.
from looking.
Yes, right.
You
Right.
need the hit.
right.
You need
They
the
can't-
dopamine
it's
hit.
something it's like a
You
monster.
it's dopamine. You need
fighting
the
a
hit.
monster.
Yeah. It's right.
So then if that's the case, I think what they did today, maybe it'll help somehow.
Okay. You think
Maybe
that?
it'll
All
help
right.
somehow.
Okay. I don't, but I don't
I mean,
think
look,
it will.
when they taxed
I think
smoking
they
and they put like a
addicts will
huge
find
tax, it was a help. Some people said
addicts will find they're cunning. They're
but this gives them a chance. It's
no,
a
it
leg.
doesn't. It's gonna
It's like
they're
smoking.
going to. It's like a drug addict. If there's no drug supply, on the next street, they're gonna go. They're gonna go 50 miles for that hit of whatever.
I
it
think
is.
for children, it's going to help.
I think
I
that
think it's really going to help.
I think
Little
that
kids, when
may
they get
help.
on, they're not going to be able to log on.
Right. They're
They're
not
going to have
right.
the
Yes.
tools to say, I'm 8
Yes.
years old and I'm going to
And-
go.
But
Yeah.
that's my
So I don't know how to get on the dark web, or I don't know how to get on a different website that's free. Correct.
it'll
I
help.
think it will help children.
right. So that
But
in
not
of itself,
addicts.
but that's what I was saying earlier. That in of itself can help prevent future addicts because you're not able to easily access it.
It's true. It's like
So-
almost like a prevention
Right.
for children.
Because
For
people-
children, not
Future
addicts.
addicts.
But
Future.
that's why I said if you're an
Future addicts.
addict,
I
you're
get
already
it.
in there.
Okay, I
But
get
it helps stop. It puts a roadblock in the way, which hopefully will stop that person from going down that path. And if that's the case, great.
Okay.
It works.
All right.
Because the truth of the matter is, even if you are an addict, put your fucking license in. Who cares? You have
Yeah,
access to
they
it.
don't care.
Right. So you're not taking it away. I can go on right now and go on and look.
Right.
There's nothing
I
stopping
think it's
me.
good for children because what happens is at such a young age, if they do see that, we are now raising future addicts. Like
Right,
they
exactly.
see it and like, ooh, what is that? Now they're curious.
Right.
Or
And
they
this
see
is
it-
okay. It's on the internet.
Right. They start
It's
masturbating
free. It's
at an
easy to
early
get
age.
on. Right.
They're like,
right,
why is
right,
this
right.
happening to me? And
Yeah.
then they think that's normal.
All right. So let me tell you what happened to me the other day.
Oh, story time.
I was perusing Netflix.
And
I came across, I forget what the name was.
oh, come on.
It was Pleasure something.
Christ.
And I'm
Pleasure
like,
what?
I don't know, Pleasure something. And I'm like, what's that?
Look it up.
It was an educational film on pleasure.
Look it up.
On look it up. Netflix, Pleasure something. I don't know what it was. I'm like, this looks interesting. So it was teaching about, it was like I wouldn't say it was a documentary. It was like a educational film. And I thought, me growing up,
What was it about, John?
well, yes, principles.
What was it about?
What's the first episode?
Christ.
What's first episode? Anyway, it was so the one I watched was the female anatomy and how an orgasm comes about or whatever.
Oh, we're getting off. We're getting into a whole nother.
No, because here's the thing.
A. This is
Yeah.
B.
So I
That's-
went to a private Christian school.
Okay.
Sex was taboo. It was not talked about. My parents never talked about it. So the only way that I could learn it was from whatever other resources I had. So given the environment, and so that's why watching that, I thought it was interesting because that's what it was all about.
What was it about?
Well, just about that. It was people don't even know
Oh.
what the anatomy is. They've never been taught this.
Ah.
We don't. And so
Interesting.
it was interesting.
I'm going to have to watch that.
And so porn has taken over that role. and it's a bad role for teaching.
Yes.
And so,
Absolutely.
I
I agree.
that's the point I'm getting at is I think it's a good thing to put a roadblock there. I think we need to focus though on how to properly teach people about
Your
sex
body.
and your body.
That it's
exactly.
it's not a
Well, and that's what that was about
unhealthy,
is
right.
exactly.
Ooh, I have to watch this.
No, and it was about the body and how it works and it was, it's very
educational,
right. I'm
informative.
going to have to
All right. Are we going to wrap it up?
I don't know.
We need to talk more about, we'll obviously do a maybe part 2 and
on porn?
no, we'll dive into a little bit deeper things, I think. Yeah. I think
So what I'd like to know, do you have a specialty per se? Like what would you say? It may not be a specialty. And maybe I'm just off base here,
What
but
are you saying?
like what is a most common problem that you find with couples, with relationships?
Communication.
All right.
Of
I
course.
teach people
That's
how
what
to
it boils
communicate
down to.
every day.
Right? Boils down to that.
It's like the most basic thing, but it is so
Right.
people have no idea how to do it,
Mm.
and it works.
Well, then that is what our next show's about.
Oh, that's good.
How
There we
to
go.
properly
See, I
communicate.
knew we were getting
I
something out
love
of this.
that.
Okay.
I love teaching it.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
That's
So there's the next show.
There's the
Is
next
how to properly
next episode
communicate.
that we do with Dr. Liz. Okay, we want to thank Dr. Liz Lerner for being here with us.
We learned.
She's
a lot.
fantastic. We love her. We will be learning more, obviously, in the next year with her. And do we want to do? What's your life? What's the lifegasm? What's the
Well,
life?
mine was stripped away
Let's
when I
get-
went on to Pornhub today. So there goes that. I got to find something new.
My lifegasm is I used to get lifegasm out of watching Pornhub and having whatever kind of gasm. I had it, yeah. It was great. Anyway, but
So
anyway,
okay,
all
so
right,
find
so
a health what's another
I-
avenue now that you can't?
I have a few. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Okay, so gasm of the week. You want to know it?
Sure.
Yes.
I like this one. This is from Lily Lightning, talent producer. Don't take sex tips from industries based on fake orgasms.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yay.
I think that's perfect.
Love it.
Don't take sex tips from industries based on fake orgasms. Thank you. Fantastic. That sums it all up. I love that. All right. Where
So,
can everybody find us?
well, first of all, just for all of our listeners, you will be okay. You'll make it through this.
Shut the fuck up. All right. Shut up.
Help is always available.
Be quiet. Be quiet right now. Where can everyone find us?
No, you just told me to be quiet.
Be quiet. Where can everyone find us?
Everywhere you find your favorite podcast, Apple, Spotify.
Spotify. Please rate 5 stars. Download, bookmark, follow. What else?
And subscribe.
to
Instagram?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Instagram is Lifegasm _
TikTok?
podcast. Lifegasm podcast. Oh, _ podcast. Okay.
They're the same.
Facebook is Lifegasm podcast. And X is Lifegasm podcast. And YouTube is Lifegasm.
They're all
podcast.
the same, pretty much.
So let's download, save, follow, like,
Subscribe.
subscribe, do whatever the fuck you have to do to make us fucking famous, motherfucker.
And you know what? We did a show once with comments. I say we need more comments. so
we
that
need
can-
more comments, more questions. If you want to be a guest on our show, DM us. We will put you on.
It's a fun
It's
time.
exciting. Have a good night. Everyone have a good week. We love you.
We're off now. It's over.
We're off.
Yep.